Hello, I'm Mark Gelfo, and welcome to our greenWORKS webinar on benchmarking with Energy Star Target Finder. This session is going to be a live demonstration of how to use the Energy Star Target Finder to determine your building's preliminary Energy Star score, which is one of the first steps in any energy auditing and retrocommissioning process is benchmarking, and Energy Star Target Finder is one way to do that, to benchmark your building's performance against other similar buildings. And it can also be used as a strategy or as a tool to identify possible energy savings or quantify possible energy savings for your building, which we'll go over in a minute. So as I said, benchmarking is an important first step. Whether you identify your building's energy usage on an absolute value, like on a kBTUs per square foot per year, which is a energy use intensity, or using a database of other similar buildings to compare it against, like CBEX or Energy Star. Energy Star gives you a score on a scale of 1 to 100 that compares the energy performance of your building versus other similar buildings, so comparing office buildings to office buildings or hospitals to hospitals in your geographic area, which is what we're going to demonstrate. So in the Energy Star Target Finder, there's just a little bit of information that you need to input about your building to get started. First, you need to know where it is, so the zip code of the building, so the database knows what area to compare your building against. The size of the building, the square footage of it, the usage of it, is it an office, is it a hospital, is it a daycare, what type of building it is. You need the actual energy use data for at least 12 months, the last year of information, and that's all sources of energy use, both electricity and natural gas. If your building had district chilled water, you'd also need to know that. So all the energy that is going into your building needs to go into the database. The number of people in the building and the number of computers, basically the occupancy, the operating hours per week, and the cost of the different energy sources. And if you don't know the cost, how many cents per kWh of electricity you're using, that's okay. It'll put in default average values for your area. So the first thing you want to do is start gathering that information, especially the 12 months of utility bills, so that you can pull the data. So for instance, on a typical JEA electric bill, you'd be pulling 12 months worth of those and going in and trying to identify the consumption data, which you can't really read there, but basically the kWh number for each month. That's the number you're looking for. And if you had natural gas, you'd certainly want to get your TECO or whoever your gas provider is and get their bills and find out that consumption information too. What I like to do is put all of the utility data into a spreadsheet that shows the months of the year. Since you get the cost data anyway, I always like to put that in there. This is also a tool I use to determine the building's energy use intensity, or the EUI, basically getting all the different energy sources in one place and then converting them to common terms, common units of measurement. So for instance, this building or this sample, I've listed 3 different energy sources. So chilled water from a district chilled water source, the electricity cost, and natural gas in this kind of hypothetical building that we're going to use. And so it shows all of the data and cost for each of those utilities for 12 months, both the cost and the consumption. So in chilled water usage, it's measuring it in ton hours. In the electricity, it's in kWh, and in the natural gas, it's in therms. And then at the bottom, in the blue, to determine energy use intensity, I've converted all of those different units into a common unit, or converted them all into kBTUs, which is a pretty common way to measure your energy use intensity. So converted ton hours to kBTUs and kWh to kBTUs and therms to kBTUs, and then added them all up, divided by the square footage of the building, and that gives you the EUI, the energy use intensity. In this case, it says it's 133 kBTUs per square foot per year. So that would be a measure that I could use to compare against other buildings, or how we improve the building later on in the future. So we've got this baseline. So let's jump right in. Let's go to the Energy Star Target Finder. And you can get there a bunch of different ways. If you don't know the website, you can always Google it, Google Energy Star Target Finder, or you can go to energystar.gov, which is what we're going to do here. And you come up to the Energy Star website. We are going to go down to Energy Star Target Finder. If I remember where it is. So you can come over here to Buildings and Plants and find the quick link to Target Finder. It probably would have been easier if I had just Googled Energy Star Target Finder. And then go here to Access Energy Star Target Finder. And so here we are. So now we get into the nuts and bolts of it. You can put the name of your building. Let's call this a sample project. Where it is located in the United States. I'm going to skip the address for now, but you do need to put in the state. Let's say this is where we are here in Jacksonville, Florida. Let's say it's downtown. I don't have to put in the year of construction completed. This is a tool you can use during designing a project as well to set your target values. So let's presume that this building is a this theoretical building. Let's say that it is a let's say it's a courthouse. It's a big building. I'm going to say it's I'm going back to my sample project spreadsheet here. See what I had originally put in. Okay, so let's say it's about 750,000 square feet. Here we say, I'm going to say it's one building. If you had multiple buildings on your property, you could look at it that way. If your building has multiple use types, like let's say that part of it is an office building and part of it is a data center, you can actually put in more than one building type here. You need to know the square footage of the office area versus the data center area to basically prorate the values that you would have. So square footage, let's say that the operating hours per week are 50 hours a week. Let's say that there are 2,000 people in the building and that the number of computers is the same. When it asks for the number of computers, unless I know exactly what it is, I usually just assume that it's the same as the number of people in the building. The percentage of the building that can be heated, more than 50%, because the whole building can be heated. Percentage that can be cooled, again, more than 50%, because we're assuming the whole building is heated and cooled in this example. So you come down here to the design energy piece, and it gives you just one line at first, but in our example, we're going to use, from that spreadsheet that I showed you before, we're going to go kind of worst case and show 3 different types of energy sources. So I pick on the first one, we'll go electric grid, that's our electric to the building, and that is going to be measured in kWh, kilowatt hours. So I go and I click that. I go to my spreadsheet and I see what the total kWh for the 12 months added up to. And in this case, it is 9,579,360. So again, right off the utility bills. And let's say that I know that the energy cost for electricity is 8 cents per kWh. So we go 0.08. And I'll make sure my units are right. Make sure my number's right. 9,579,360. And so then I want to do the next one. So I click here, add another entry, and another line pops up. Let's say we do this one as the district chilled water. So let's go district chilled water is powered by electric. And we're going to measure that in ton hours. I pick ton hours. And back to my spreadsheet, the total ton hours for the year are 5,378,700. And I don't know how much the chilled water usage is, so let's leave that blank, and it'll give us an average. Another entry, the last one. This theoretical building also has natural gas, so we come here and we pick natural gas. Natural gas is measured in therms. And I go back to my spreadsheet and look, and it's about 28,000 therms. And again, I don't know what the gas cost is, so we just leave it like that. I scroll down. You can put in a target Energy Star score. The minimum score in Energy Star to achieve an Energy Star certification is 75, meaning that that building would be more efficient than 75% of the other similar buildings in the area. I'm going to leave that the way it is. You could also do that in a target percentage being better than average, better than median, better than 50%. But we'll leave that blank. And then I just simply click View Results. And so it pops right up there, says that this building would have a preliminary Energy Star score of 59, meaning that it is 59%, or it's more efficient than 59% of the other similar courthouse buildings in this region of the country. So if 50 is the average score, this would be an above average building. But really the good chart that is very helpful is down here. It shows Energy Star score, energy use intensity, and energy usage and cost for our building, which would be the design building, what the Energy Star building with a score of 75 would be, and for the median building, an average building of 50. So I can also use this to double check my math. So I had said before in my spreadsheet I had figured that EUI was 133 kBTUs per square foot per year. That's exactly what it says here. So, and put in the numbers correctly. Tells me what the cost is based on those numbers for the energy usage for the building compared to what an average building would be. So if the cost here is about 1.6 million dollars in energy cost per year, the average building is using about just over $2 million in energy cost per year. So you can see we're just by being more efficient, we're saving that much money on our utility bills. But it's also a good tool to see, okay, if we could improve the performance of this building and get it to an Energy Star certification, basically get the score from a 59 to a 75, the cost would be, energy cost per year would be approximately $1.5 million. So the savings to get to 1.5 million, to get to an Energy Star score of 75, would reduce our energy costs and save us about $300,000 per year. So it's a good quick tool to see just exactly how much potential you could, much potential savings you could recognize by your building being more efficient. And then you can go back and if you screwed something up or wanted to change it, you could go back and edit the information. You come up here and go back to edit, and then you could go and change some of the numbers, or let's say we wanted to raise the target and see what that would do to us. We could go back. So I also like to look at the data. Since I've already got it in a spreadsheet and I've already got some of those graphs, I like to plot it and visually look at it and see what kind of stories the data is telling us. So here, I've taken that spreadsheet and plotted it in a stacked bar graph that shows the blue is the electric usage, the red is the chilled water usage, and the greenish is the natural gas consumption. So what you can see, what jumps out at you right away, is that the red is one of the bigger numbers, but also that we seem to be peaking in the September, October, the summer to early fall period, and then the energy use decreases in the winter, really decreases into March there. Normally I would have expected the building to dip more in the colder months, in the December, January time frame, but this gives you a feel for what the building's doing. And then you would go back and then try to figure out maybe why it's performing that way. You look at the weather data and see if we had, an unseasonably cold March, or you go back and look at the occupancy data and see if maybe something weird or unusual happened in those months, but try to analyze the whys of that data. You can look at it another way in a line graph form, where again the green is the natural gas, the blue is the electric, and the red is the chilled water. The light blue up here is the total building usage. So what really jumps out at you here is that the whole building tracks the same as the chilled water usage. So it's really the chilled water, the HVAC, the air conditioning, that is driving the performance of this building. The gas usage is pretty consistent and relatively low. The electric usage is pretty consistent, pretty flat. So if I was starting to get into the building, I would look at this data and say, from a prioritization standpoint, it's the HVAC, it's the air conditioning system where I can possibly have the greatest impact on the building's overall energy performance. I could reduce the heating, the gas consumption, I could reduce it by half, and it still wouldn't really impact the overall energy performance of the building. So this helps give you an idea of where you want to prioritize your efforts. So that's the end of the Target Finder demonstration. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you'll join us for the next webinar series entitled Killing the Energy Hogs, which will focus on retro-commissioning and measurement verification. So after we've identified what the potentials are, how do we go about actually reducing an existing building's energy consumption? So thank you.